Hi everyone. As everyone knows right now, my name is Nadim, and I'm not going to talk about myself today. I'm just going to focus on one single thing. I am addicted. I am a sinner, and I'm here today to share my vices with everyone here. Now, this is the first time I actually open up, so I'm just going to talk you through my addiction. So what ends up happening is that I kind of buy one packet on my way to school and one packet on my way back. I usually end up finishing both packets either in and out of school. I have to be really discreet at school though, because I don't want to get caught. And it's gotten really bad recently. I've ended up just doing way too much of it, and I'm doing way more than I should, and it's really bad, and you can actually smell it in my breath at this point. So this is my first time opening up even to my parents, which are in this audience today. So I am addicted to chewing gum. So I know most of you think this is silly and ridiculous, but I'm actually addicted to chewing gum, and this is a real problem. Now, I've just opened up to everyone here. Does anyone actually resent me or scold me for liking chewing gum? Just raise your hand if you do. Okay, there are literally 3 people. That is almost nothing. However, what if I said that I was smoking cigarettes? How many people would look at me in a different light? That's a lot more people, exactly. Because cigarettes are extremely stigmatized. There is a huge bias against cigarettes. However, chewing gum, which could arguably be about as bad, does not have such a stigma attached to it. So today I am here to help all of you understand that we must fight the SASAs, which are the socially accepted substances. So now I know that most of you are still skeptical and really cynical about the entire chewing gum issue, so I just like to bring up these statistics. This graph here shows the amount of chewing gum that was bought within each continent, and as you can see, we're right here, and the numbers are steadily increasing in the Middle East and Africa, and we're spending around $1 billion US dollars on chewing gum a year. Even though that might not be as big as the United States and other continents, it's still a ludicrous number. Just thinking about it, we as human beings are actually steadily consuming more chewing gum, and it's becoming more accessible to everyone. Now, this increase is due to 2 different factors. The first being that there's a growing market for chewing gum, and more people are getting into it. And the second is that more people are consuming chewing gum individually. So, for example, I could have started off with 1 pack, and then I just went to 3. So this clearly outlines the issue as it is a growing market, it's a growing addiction. Now, let's talk about the addiction and what SASAs are specifically. So SASAs, as I've said, are socially acceptable substances, and DAA stands for abuse. So the socially accepted substances are any addictant that we as humans consume, and there is no stigma attached to it in a negative light. And the abuse is mainly that we are addicted to it and we're consuming far too much of it. So let's just go through the outline of what addiction is. So very simply, addiction is the process in the brain, it's a neurological process in which the neurotransmitter, which is dopamine, is being sent to a neuroreceptor to create the sensation of pleasure. So in some, let's say for example, most of you eat chocolate, I'm assuming. You have a bar of chocolate. Chocolate's high in calories and sugars. It's extremely sweet. So what ends up happening is your body sees it as beneficial because you can store chocolate. So what your body does is it rewards you to give you an incentive to eat more chocolate. So it'll give you dopamine. This dopamine will reach your neuron receptors, and you're just going to feel the sensation of pleasure. Now, what happens is that once you start consuming chocolate regularly, your body's going to recognize that you as a human being are consuming far too much chocolate. So what it'll start doing is it will shut down some of the receptors, so you get less of a sensation as a deterrent to stop you from eating as much chocolate. However, we as human beings are left with 2 choices. The first being, we either accept the fact that we're not going to get the same high off chocolate that we used to, or what ends up happening is that we'll just keep consuming more chocolate to compensate for the fact that we're not feeling the same high from the same amount. So what most of us end up doing is just consuming more and more. So if you ate 1 chocolate bar, you're now eating 2. If you ate 2 chocolate bars, you're now eating 3. If you ate 3 chocolate bars, you're now eating 4. And the cycle keeps going on, and you keep consuming more and more. And once you cannot function without eating chocolate, that is when you have become addicted. So what are the disadvantages or side effects of addiction? Now, there are multiple side effects to addiction. Can I just get a quick show of hands here? How many people drink coffee? An awful lot of people here drink coffee. Now, did you know that by drinking coffee, you are single-handedly increasing the chances of you developing either raised heart pressure, gout attacks, which are the worst form of arthritis, and even forced heart contractions? Now, all of these different symptoms are actually the effects of caffeine, which is obviously in coffee. Now, let's say, for example, that you like putting sugar in coffee, like me, because it's a bit too bitter. So what are the effects of sugar? Now, usually when we're adding sugar, it's always added sugar, and it's never natural. So what ends up happening is you get no health benefits from said sugar. And also, it increases your insulin resistance, which can lead to diabetes, and it can also cause fatty liver disease. Now, all of these symptoms actually occur, or more likely to occur, when a person consumes these different products in excess. Now, let's get back to chewing gum. Let's say, for example, that you chew gum. Now, you're lucky because chewing gum doesn't actually contain sugar. It's all sugar alcohols. That's why they managed to call it sugar-free. Now, sugar alcohols are basically just fermented sugar. And although these sugar alcohols are halal, they have many side effects, notably of which are the great fluctuation of sugar levels within the body, which can be extremely detrimental to a person with hypoglycemia, and they can also act as a forced laxative. And I'm telling you this right now, no one wants to willingly ingest laxatives. So these are just 3 different chemicals or 3 different substances that are put into coffee or into soft drinks or into any different substance that we consume on the regular and don't actually look at much of or scold much. But there are actually a myriad of different chemicals put into these. For example, there has been a study by Business Insider which was conducted that has shown that within coffee there are dozens and dozens of different chemicals which could potentially be harmful in high doses. And this is an issue because most of us who are addicted and consume these products in excess do end up consuming high doses, meaning that we are far more likely to develop all of the side effects that I mentioned before. Now, another issue with addiction is the withdrawal. Now, withdrawal is when a person tries to just stop using the substance as they recognize that it's a problem. Now, the way most people go about this is simply by going cold turkey. Now, cold turkey mainly means that you're just going to stop using the substance, period, and shall not consume any more or moderate. You're just going to stop completely. Now, this process is actually extremely faulty and can lead to not only the person getting back into their addiction, but it can also reinforce it, hence exacerbating the entire situation. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's say, for example, that most people here drink coffee, and you just want to stop drinking coffee because you don't want to raise your heart pressure or anything like that. What ends up happening is that by stopping, you're prone to coffee withdrawal, notably caffeine withdrawal, which is a UN World Health Organization recognized issue, of which the symptoms include insomnia, depression, nausea, tiredness, psychomotor impairment, and even depression. Now, all of these symptoms pile up together on a person who's trying to cut their consumption of coffee, and that person cannot take all of these different symptoms together. So what they end up doing is to appease for the pain, they just go back into drinking coffee, hence removing all of the symptoms which I have just mentioned, because they're just back into the coffee, their body's comfortable again. Now, the issue with this is not only did you get back into your addiction, but now you have a greater appreciation for your addiction, as you know what it feels like to not be on your addiction anymore, hence reinforcing the entire cycle. So this is extremely detrimental because now not only have you just failed at quitting, but you've actually made it even more difficult for you to quit. So let's say, for example, that you want to quit something else like chocolate. Chocolate's high in sugar, unless you're eating that really sour, dark chocolate. Now, if you try quitting on sugary products, what ends up happening is that you suffer from almost the exact same symptoms as caffeine withdrawal. However, studies have been conducted and have suggested that actually high sugar and high fat products can be about as addictive as heroin. So there has been a study done at Connecticut College on rats, and they have taken rats and they have put 2 different groups. The first group, they have given those rats cocaine and morphine, which is what heroin turns into in the body immediately. And they've given the other group high sugar and high fat content. And after a couple of weeks, they decided to just stop giving the rats anything. So no heroin and no sugar and fat. And what they realized was that the brain actually responded the same way to both groups. And the most surprising thing is that the high sugar, high fat group was actually suffering more of withdrawal symptoms than the people suffering from, than the rats suffering from heroin addiction. So these products are really, really, really addictive, especially if they add an excess of sugar, which most products do. Now, what I want you guys to learn from this, just don't do drugs. By this, I mean specifically, don't get into doing new drugs. And by drugs, I mean just don't do chocolate. Chocolate's really bad. So that's one of the things, but at the end of the day, what's really important is I hope that everyone here recognizes their own SASA, and they try to fight their own SASA. And it's not because something says, oh, this is bad, that it's necessarily good. For example, chewing gum. You don't see the skulls and crossbones on chewing gum like you do on cigarettes. However, it's still extremely detrimental. Also, I hope that everyone here today, instead of trying to cut cold turkey, as I've mentioned, which is an extremely ineffective method of quitting, would try to at least consume in moderation. Because when you're consuming in moderation, not only is cutting back even more and eventually recovering from your addiction possible, but also you're not prone to the side effects that I have mentioned before, hence leading you to living a normal and healthy life. So please just don't do drugs, guys. Thank you.